Ida Lupino was born into a family of performers, with her uncle and father being well-known figures in the English music hall scene. Despite this legacy, she was determined to make a name for herself in Hollywood. During her prime, she was a sought-after film actress and made history as one of the first female directors in the industry. Ida was a trailblazer in the male-dominated field of filmmaking and television. With her second husband Collier Young, she founded an independent production company and made a name for herself with her unique touch in film noir. As her reputation grew, she became a highly regarded television director by the 1960s. However, Ida's success was not without its challenges. She struggled with addiction and poor health, and her career took a downturn as a result. Her third marriage to Howard Duff was tumultuous and ended in divorce, leaving her as a recluse in her later years. Despite her contributions to the film and television industry, she was eventually forgotten and passed away in obscurity. Ida Lupino, born on February 4, 1918 in London, was a product of a rich theatrical dynasty. Her father, Stanley, was a renowned music hall performer, and her ancestry was filled with actors, dancers, singers, puppeteers, and tightrope walkers. At the height of her career, Lupino was a film star and became one of the first female directors in the movie and television industry. She directed several films and over 100 television episodes, challenging the male hierarchy in Hollywood and producing independent films with her second husband, Collier Young. Lupino was known for her unique touch in film noir and became a highly sought-after television director by the 1960s. However, her long-term struggles with alcohol and drug addiction derailed her career, leading her to become a recluse who made poor business decisions. Her third marriage to Howard Duff was tumultuous and ended in a divorce after a long separation. Tragically, the end of Lupino's life was marked by a sad incident at the 1972 Academy Awards where she was asked to be a presenter. Bob Finkel, the producer of the awards, found Lupino to be drunk upon her arrival and locked her in a broom closet to prevent her from embarrassing herself in the awards. She was forgotten in the closet until the show ended and was still asleep when retrieved. Despite her remarkable career and being a pioneer for women in cinema, Lupino was never recognized for her achievements. She passed away as a largely forgotten figure. It is a crying shame that such a talented and trailblazing artist was not given the recognition she deserved in her lifetime. Ida Lupino was born into a family of entertainers. Her father Stanley Lupino was a renowned music hall performer, and the family was friends with literary figures such as Charles Dickens and J. M. Barrie, the creator of Peter Pan. The Lupino clan was even referred to as the royal family of Greasepaint by Edward VII, the son of Queen Victoria. Growing up, Ida lived in a Tudor mansion in Streatham filled with theatrical memorabilia, and she sang and performed with her family around the family piano. At the age of 8, her parents went on tour in the United States and on Broadway, leaving Ida and her sister at the Clarence House boarding school for girls in West Brighton. While at the boarding school, Ida developed her writing and acting skills. She wrote plays that she also starred in as the lead, and as she grew older, she matured into a young woman with remarkable beauty, characterized by her alabaster skin and piercing blue eyes. Ida Lupino's acting career began at a young age. She made her film debut as an extra in the movie The Love Race in 1931, which starred her father and was directed by her cousin, Lupino Lane. A German director visiting the set took notice of her beauty and offered her a role in his upcoming production. However, her one scene was later cut because Lupino was considered more attractive than the leading lady. Despite the opportunity, Lupino chose to further her education and enrolled in the London Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. In her second term, she was cast in a production of Heartbreak House by the famous playwright George Bernard Shaw. After her education, Lupino returned to the film industry with a lead role in Alan Dwan's Her First Affair in 1932. The role of a Lolita-type character was initially pitched to her mother, but when she accompanied her mother to the audition, the 14-year-old Lupino caught the eye of the director, who cast her instead. With her hair bleached for the film, Lupino was promoted as the English version of Jean Harlow. However, despite this promotion, she made relatively few films in Great Britain. When Lupino arrived at Paramount, her roles were limited. She was cast as the second female lead in 2 films, Peter Ibbotson, 1935, directed by Henry Hathaway, where she was a potential love interest to Gary Cooper, and in Anything Goes, 1936, directed by Lewis Milestone, where she played a shipboard Chippy alongside Bing Crosby. It wasn't until Lupino won the role of a fiery Cockney model in The Light That Failed, 1936, directed by William Wellman, that she began to be recognized for her acting talent. Lupino outshined Vivien Leigh for the role and starred opposite Ronald Colman. This film brought her to the forefront of the public's attention. Lupino then signed a contract with Warner Brothers and started to receive critical acclaim. She starred in the film They Drive By Night, 1940, directed by Raoul Walsh, and stole the show from both George Raft and Humphrey Bogart. Lupino played the cunning wife of a trucking magnate who was driven by her desires to commit murder. Over the next few years, Lupino became known for her roles in dark dramas that foreshadowed the post-war film noir thrillers. She starred in Moontide, 1942, directed by Archie Mayo, with Gene Gabin, and Deep Valley, 1947, directed by Jean Negulescos, alongside Dane Clark. These films cemented her reputation as a talented actress in Hollywood. In 1947, Lupino made a bold move and left Warner Brothers. After she starred in the intense film Noir Roadhouse, she wanted to enhance her reputation in the industry and decided to venture into producing. Together with her second husband, Columbia production executive Collier Young, they invested in the independent crime drama The Judge. However, things took an unexpected turn when the director, Elmer Clifton, suffered a heart attack during pre-production. Lupino took the initiative and stepped up to take his place, directing the film from day one. Despite not being a member of the Directors Guild of America, Lupino played down her role as the director of Not Wanted and instead gave credit to the ailing Clifton. She filmed the movie guerrilla style on the streets of Los Angeles to save money on set building. Lupino's quick and successful direction of the film, which was budgeted at just over $150,000 and grossed over $1 million, quickly spread through the studios. A-list actresses even requested private screenings of Not Wanted. Lupino's reputation as a female director was novel in Hollywood, but she proved that women could call the shots just as well as men. After the split from her second husband Collier Young in 1951, Lupino found comfort in actor Howard Duff, who she would spend the next 30 years of her life with. She was well known for her bold and direct approach to directing, which was considered masculine even though her style challenged patriarchal views. Interestingly, Lupino's next chance to direct a feature film was with the comedic school film The Trouble with Angels, 1966, featuring Hayley Mills as a mischievous student at a convent and Rosalind Russell as her strict headmistress. Despite the end of her feature film career by the late 60s, Lupino continued to work tirelessly in film and television. As she aged, Lupino's appearance became rough and she was cast in more rugged roles that lacked refinement, but her talent and contributions to the industry continued to be acknowledged. Ida Lupino's life took a turn in 1984 when she divorced from Howard Duff. She left the fashionable Brentwood neighborhood and moved to the more affordable San Fernando Valley located on the other side of the Hollywood Hills. She struggled with alcoholism and became increasingly reclusive in her retirement, even becoming estranged from her daughter. Lupino's death in July 1990 came as a shock to those who knew her, and her final years were marked by depression, health problems, and mental deterioration. She was eventually diagnosed with cancer, and suffered a fatal stroke in 1995. She passed away in her Burbank home on August 3 of that year, at the age of 77. The legendary actress, Ida Lupino, was loved by many, and her contributions to the film industry will never be forgotten.